And now, weighing in out of the blue corner, Josh the Punk Thompson. 100% agree. And on the other mic, he weighs in from the red corner, Big John McCarthy.
All right, here we are once again. It is a Sunday for you people, and we are coming at you with another edition of the Weighing In podcast. We just had the UFC with the welterweight championship, teammate versus teammate. No one knew what was going to happen except the teammates. They kind of did, and in the end, Kamaru Usman takes it from his challenger, Gilbert Burns. Josh, what did you think of the fight?
I thought it played out exactly like I thought it would, John. You said it just like
you lying some bitch, man.
Oh, man. I mean, the first round played out like I thought it would. I thought Gilbert, obviously the speed was a factor in the first round. I continue to say that, the speed. I thought Gilbert came in with a little bit too much energy in terms of he let the adrenaline get to him, and you saw it.
Yeah.
He had a good first round. He was picking him apart. The speed was the factor. Usman took the same approach, though, when he fought Colby Covington. Stayed composed, stayed relaxed, let the fight come to him. He didn't try to overextend himself. He didn't try to do too much. I think he really has discovered who he is as a fighter. He's not just a wrestler. He's got a good stiff jab. He's got a good push kick, tip kick, whatever you want to call it. That little toe kick he threw a couple times landed nice and clean. You saw it kind of give Gilbert a little bit of a jolt. I think Burns did everything that I thought he was going to do. He just didn't do it as long as I thought, and that jab definitely was. I mean, as much as I don't want to give the commentary team a whole lot of credit, the jab was effective. The jab was effective in the Colby fight. The jab was effective tonight, and man, he's got some power on it. He's got a good, hard, clean, stiff jab. It's the most underutilized weapon in all of MMA, and the people that do have success with it or are able to shape it to their game, they're able to have success with it, and it's very effective. And he's found that. He's found that little niche where not a lot of people use. And if he can continue to do that, people are going to have to figure it out. They're going to have to start moving their head offline. They're going to have to start realizing that it's there. But you got to be careful, though, as well, because that push kick is there, that toe kick is there, and that's nasty as well. So those are two things that he has to utilize his reach, that we had talked about. He's long, he's lanky. Those are the things that he has, I think, working for him in that weight class. He's a big guy. No matter what Henry Huff says, he's long and he seems enormous. And I've seen him at events. He's big, and he's like, oh yeah, he's only probably about 188, 189. I'm like, I don't think.
Zero fat.
Yeah, zero fat is
correct. Whole lot of muscle on that frame.
And don't get me wrong, he's got room to still work and get things done inside that welterweight division. But I mean, realistically, he's only got one or two more guys to wipe out of there. If you were to take a look at that division, he's got, I'd like to see a rematch with Masvidal. I think it'd probably still be the same results, with a full camp for Masvidal. But Leon Edwards is the fight that I want to see.
Why? You already beat Leon.
No, but I want to see that fight because Leon to me is a different fighter now. The same thing with Usman.
He tooled Leon.
I get you. And Leon is a different fighter since then. And the same thing, Usman's a different fighter as well. Look, let's just be honest.
He's a better fighter.
Yeah, he is a better fighter. So is Leon.
Okay. Yeah, well, then, if they're both better, guess what's going to happen in a second?
You don't know that. You don't know that. That's the thing, is you don't know that.
I got to push your buttons.
I know you do. But I also think that, look, what happens when people start getting wins like the way he got tonight, they start thinking they can stand a little bit more. And that may be his downfall in that situation. I don't think he will, not with Leon. I don't think he will. But I also think that the speed we saw tonight was definitely a factor. And so Leon's definitely got the speed. I think he's faster than Gilbert. But then there's no threat of that jiu-jitsu on the bottom like there was with Gilbert tonight, And I think Usman fought a wonderful fight. A brilliant fight. Got rocked in the first. He just stayed composed. Didn't get over anxious. What you saw was a difference in levels of I want to say maturity, but there's a different word I'm looking for. Fight IQ pretty much is the maturity of when Gilbert got rocked, he kind of stayed there with his hands down instead of circling away with his hands up. Whereas with Usman, when he got rocked, he covered and stayed kind of like close to him. So Gilbert had to smother all of his punches and try to get to the clinch. Burns didn't do that. Burns got rocked and kind of made his way back to the fence and kept his hands down. Even when he was tired, he kind of circled around with his hands down, but still stayed in the pocket. That's fight IQ, and that's just, I think, a little bit of the maturity and more
composure,
just more composure, and then more time in the cage. You know, I mean, he's
that's more time in the cage in a championship atmosphere, in a championship fight. That's where the composure was the difference. That's what you saw. Gilbert came out fast, and he came out amped, and he was, even in the second round when he was getting dropped, the shots that he was throwing everything into him, everything. I mean, he was winging shots, and you can only do that for so long, because it definitely, if those shots, especially when they're not landing, you've got to stop it. It just burns more energy. And it was just the difference between one guy that has been there and been under that pressure and figured out how to deal with it, not in the fight world, but in the championship realm. Because, Gilbert's been there in the fight world and stuff, but it's different. It's just a different atmosphere in those championship situations. And it's something you got to learn. And he's going to learn from it. I thought when he went out there and he gave it everything he had. It was funny. You could see the areas, in my opinion, where they both knew where they could go and where they didn't want to go. And it was, when Kamaru knocked him down the first time, and he popped right back, and then he got knocked down by the jab. And it was, I'm sorry, it was the first round. He was like, he goes down, but he did not want to go down on top of him. And you go, okay, we know what happened in the training sessions there. It gave him nothing but the problems, and I'm not going to make that mistake. Made a very smart fight decision and just standing there, keeping it close so the fight wouldn't be stood up, so he could gain some time to compose himself, to get his wits back, because he took some big shots. And let me kick at the legs. Let me just hold on here. Let me do little shots here, little volume, and let time burn out. So all of that smart fighting by Usman gets into the second round. I was close to a 10-8 round in the second round.
Yeah.
You can take a look in there. The first shot was a hard shot. The second one, it was a stiff jab, maybe a little off balance. And I think that's why the judges would have looked at it and gone with a 10-9 round instead of a 10-8 round. But it's close. And I could see if one did, okay. But you could see how Usman was taking over, and just very, very, composed fighting by a champion fighter who's been there. And he's just getting better, Josh. I was surprised at the speed difference in the beginning. I thought Burns was going to be faster, but not quite as much as he was.
Yeah,
he was a lot faster. He actually almost made Kamaru look slow, and Kamaru's not slow. And he's got it. He's got that great jab. It's a stiff jab, and it comes out fast. But in the beginning, man, those first, I was like, damn, I didn't realize Burns was that much faster than him. And just to really, it was heartbreaking watching Gilbert at the end, because, he put everything he could into it, and to come out on the short end, it hurts. It's, you think it's the end of the world. It's not. He's going to be back, and he's going to be better than ever. He's going to learn from this.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, there's not a lot that other welterweights can take away from this, other than the fact that Usman didn't want to go to the ground with Burns. And that was, I think everyone knew that already.
That just makes him smart.
Yeah. And so, other than the fact that, sure, the overhand right is there, but you have to remember as well that when you throw the overhand right, if you're another welterweight, odds are Usman's going to take you down. And so that wasn't available to him tonight, especially in the first round when they were still dry and still fresh. And so that will not apply to whoever it is that's fighting him next, to a Colby Covington, to a George Masvidal, to Leon Edwards or whoever else. That will not apply to them. So as far as takeaways, I didn't really get a whole lot of takeaways, other than the fact that Burns did have a little bit of success with that inside leg kick every time Usman switched to a southpaw stance. But like I said, you got to be very cautious with how much you throw kicks if you're fighting someone like Usman with the wrestling ability that he has. I thought overall, Burns did what he thought, what I thought he would do in the first round. I thought the speed was going to be a big factor. I thought that he was going to potentially try to press Usman to the fence a little bit more to try to maybe get him to try to take him down. I thought like anytime you're in that clinch area, the wrestling naturally will come out sometimes out of wrestlers. They'll drop their head to try and scoop the leg if you put them in a position where you push their head down. It's just out of natural instinct. And I thought he would maybe try to coax him into doing that. Like, let me guide you where I want you to go type position. But that wasn't the case. He tried to stand. He tried to finish him on the feet. He tried to show that he was the better striker. And realistically, I felt like the fatigue that set in towards the end of the first, because you started seeing him get a little bit more tired. It was from all the winging of the punches.
Yeah.
You know, you get more tired when you miss punches, and he was missing a lot as the fight went on, as that first round started coming to a close. And so it just started showing. And I think I heard Trevor Whitman say in between rounds, he's like, look, he's already getting a little bit tired. He's already slowed down significantly from the first 2.5 minutes to the end of that first round. And so you could tell that their game plan was, like we had talked about throughout the week. I said, I give Burns a chance in the first 3 rounds. If he gets to the 4th and the 5th, I didn't think it was going to go his way. But I thought it would get to the 3rd round. You know what I mean? Like I thought it was going to get into that 3rd round. It never got there. But the first round was what I expected to see potentially in the 2nd as well. And then the 3rd, I started thinking of the change of the guard, maybe like in terms of Usman would start taking over in the 3rd round, because Burns is a very high output fighter. He's very aggressive, very fast twitch, he gets after it, and mixed in with his grappling. So that never came to fruition, unfortunately for him. But I thought he implemented his game plan that he needed to implement in the first round. It just didn't work out for him going in the 2nd. Usman stayed composed, stayed relaxed, and did exactly what he needed to do to get the win. I thought he looked phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal.
He did. He looked great. You take nothing away from him, man. That jab was stiff. It was hard, man. It was amazing because he even switched stance and took the jab with his right hand and made it work too. So, he's been working on it. You can see he's a little bit different in some areas working with Trevor Whitman than he is when he's with Henry Hoof down at Sanford, but he's just getting better. And that's what when a champion is working and getting better, then you got problems if you're in his weight class, because he's not just sitting back enjoying all of the things that are coming his way. He's working hard, and it's clear that Kamaru Usman is a hard worker.
Yeah. Yeah, I get concerned a little bit when fighters are predominantly like wrestlers and they start switching stance, and their stand-up is good in their orthodox stance, but then they start to switch stance and start doing things. He never really got away from the jab. He just changed when he switched, he stayed with what worked with him, which was with the jab. Then he switched back and threw the right hand, whatever it was. He never got really too outside of that comfort zone when he did switch his stance, which is what I like to see. But when you see someone who is not familiar with switching stances, or someone that hasn't had a lot of opportunities to switch stance in the cage against top fighters, I think that should have been Burns' opportunity and chance to jump on him right away. And every time I've ever had somebody in the past, whether it was working with other coaches, a lot of top kickboxing coaches that I've worked with, they've all said, as soon as you see someone switch a stance, doesn't matter if they're used to doing it or not, you have a split second to throw something as hard as you can at them. Because for a split second, their mind, it takes them a second to adjust. Yep. And I think it was you and I talking about this, or somebody else and I were talking about it, is that I guess in the police force, they were saying like they teach police officers to back up 2 or 3 steps and then circle out, because like people that are intoxicated, or people that are angry, or people that chase after them, it takes their brain a second. They're just want to run forward at you, and they have to, oh wait, you moved. Shit. What happened? They don't know how to make that adjustment. So I would imagine the same thing goes for fighters, because when I learned also too how to back up, it's back up 2 steps and circle out so you don't get hit with their kick with anything. I would imagine it'd be the same thing when you switch your stance. Your brain doesn't have a second to adjust. So as soon as you see them switch, you need to go, and you need to go right away with something, whether it's inside kick, body kick, push kick, jab, punch, whatever it is, throw right away as soon as you see it. So there's an opportunity for you to go ahead and land something and then follow up with it if you have an opportunity from there. And Burns never did that. I get a little concerned when I see guys like Usman, who are predominantly wrestlers, going to that switch stance so early of just learning it and not being able to have an opportunity, a chance to do it against top fighters, I guess a lot during their training or whatever it is, or during the fight. That's all. He's so damn good though. I mean, he's very. It's like realistically when we're talking about both these guys, it really just came down to who had the better night, and Usman stayed composed the whole time, and he looked phenomenal. He stayed relaxed the whole time, let the fight come to him, didn't try to overdo things. He fought a very smart, high fight IQ fight.
What's that? 13 fights in a row.
It's crazy
in the UFC win streak. That's pretty good. Pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Hats off to him. Great job by Kamaru Usman.
Can you pull up the bracket for us?
What bracket?
The welterweight bracket.
The rankings.
The rankings.
The bracket. I mean,
I got you.
Yeah.
So he's got Burns. He just beat Burns. He's got Colby, who he's already beat. He's got Leon, who he's already beat. He's got Masvidal, who he already beat. And then Stephen Thompson, Chiesa, T. Wood, he's already beat. Maya. Is Maya still fighting? He's still in the rankings, but I thought
he's already beat.
Yeah, I heard that he was retiring. You have Neil Magny, who just lost. Like I said, I only want to see him fight the newer Leon. I would probably want to see him fight a full camp with Masvidal. But I understand why people were like, I can get it. When you said, I can understand.
If you were going to give me Leon Edwards or Stephen Thompson, I'm going to take Stephen Thompson. I've seen him fight Leon, and I'm not saying that he won't beat Stephen Thompson. He definitely can do that, but Stephen Thompson presents a lot of problems.
Yeah,
and someone that he hasn't faced. But once if he did beat Stephen Thompson, you're in a position he's cleared that division out as far as he's fought everyone. Now maybe he hasn't fought everyone as the champion, but he's fought basically everyone in that, and maybe that's the time that you start to move up. I don't think he ever will move up. I think he's comfortable at 170. I think it's the weight he likes. So they're going to have to find someone like a Douglas Lima to give him a challenge.
Yeah. They're going to have to do something. They are. They're going to have to do something. I mean, realistically, I would love to see, Khabib go up and wait and fight him. It would make a very interesting fight.
It would. Very interesting.
I think Khabib's style of wrestling would nullify his style of wrestling. And I mean, from what I understand, they said that they won't fight each other. But I would like to see Khabib and him fight. It would make for a very good fight. I mean, I want to see the Leon fight, given the distance. How long ago was that fight? It was a while back.
Probably about 3 fights into his UFC career or something like that.
2015.
2015. Jeez.
That was actually his second fight.
Yeah.
Into the UFC.
Yeah, both are just completely different fighters since 2015. Yeah. I mean, I would like to see that fight happen again, given the time span of it all. But yeah, who knows? I mean, realistically, if we pull up the 185-pound bracket, the rankings, so if we were talking 185 pounds, you have Robert Whittaker, you got Paulo Costa, you've got Cannonier, Darren Till, Vittori, Hermanson.
Got a lot of people
Brunson,
there. A lot of people would be fun to watch. So
yeah. I would like to see him and Darren Till.
Why would you want to see him and Darren Till? Out of all of those people,
I love it.
Why in the world would it be Darren Till that you would pick?
Well, maybe
you got to explain it.
Maybe Whittaker.
Okay, thank you.
Maybe Whittaker. I'd like to see that fight.
Maybe. Yeah, I'd see.
I mean, Izzy's not there right now.
Well, Izzy's not there. That's fine. So I'll take Whittaker. I would take Costa. That would be fun. It'd be interesting. Come on.
I would have taken Yoel Romero and him.
Yeah.
That would have been the fight.
That would have been fun.
That would have been the fight. I don't think it would have been smart on Usman's to take that fight. Like you're not snapping that head back. Like that neck and that head ain't going anywhere.
Dude, did you see his neck when he was at the Bellator thing? His neck went from his ears to his shoulder tips.
It's always sorry.
That's amazing.
It's always done that. this like straight from the ears to his shoulders. It's just not. I don't even know how it's possible.
Crazy.
Yeah. Okay. So Alexa, go ahead.
Basie Barber versus Alexa Grasso. You were a happy man.
I mean, look. As much as I thought Grasso was gonna win, and I was kind of cheering for her too, but Macy Barber, honestly, after the time off, had she fought the first 2 rounds like she fought the third?
Tell me about it.
I mean, and not only that, but look, when you're coming off of we talked about this, I think, the last show. I said, there's going to be a lot on her mind, whether she thinks the knee can hold up, whether she feels comfortable. And I don't know if that's what it was in the first round. There was a lot of bouncing around, a lot of movement, but she was throwing jabs from 5 feet away.
Bro, 5 feet away. Thank you very much.
And I'm like, what are you doing?
She's sitting there going, ha ha, throwing a jab. And it's like, that's only missing by 3 feet.
It was a big distance. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, it was like, what are you doing? And it's like, that's not a rangefinder. I'm like, I don't get that. And all the feigning she was doing outside of distance. It's like, and I give it, Rogan and Dan were pointing it out, and it was true. I was sitting there going, what are you doing? Yeah. And I think that was just getting back in and a little bit of nerves and stuff. But the third round that she fought, man, she fought her ass off going after her. And if she would have fought the first 2 with that intensity, she definitely could have won that fight. But it was a really good performance by Grasso. She showed that, her counter striking is good. She's got straight shots. And then when it went to the ground, where everyone has always, put the little question mark about Alexa Grasso, she looked good. She did well. Obviously when she got the back, she wasn't close to coming with any submission off of it, but the things that she was doing, the position that she had, it was all right. And that's saying that she's making improvements there. It was nice to see, because obviously Macy Barber's not bad on the ground. She lasted with, Roxanne Modafferi for 3 rounds with Roxanne taking her down. So she obviously has got somewhat of a ground game. So I was impressed with, Grasso and what she did when she went to the ground with her.
Yeah, I was very impressed with her grappling as well, Alexa Grasso's. But I was also impressed with Macy Barber and the fact that coming after this long layoff and not being sure whether her knee was going to hold up. There's that for athletes, there's that hesitation. Sure, you can do it in training, but your training partners know about it. And they're not going to try to hurt you. They shouldn't be trying to hurt you. They're not going to try to get after it. They're not going to do anything that may jeopardize you hurting it again. They're going to ease you into all these things. But when you're in a fight, your opponent's not thinking that way. Your opponent's thinking another way. And so she came out aggressive. She came out throwing punches from 5 feet away, but she still had the pop in her step, but you could tell that she was hesitant to really get in there and clash in that first round. And Alexa Grasso just stayed composed, touch, and won the first round. She landed some very clean shots in the second as well. Big shots. And I think Macy Barber's corners told her the right information going into the third. You need to get her out of there. You need to finish her. You need to get her out of there. She came out there like a whirlwind. Had she done that in the first 2 rounds, I think that's going to be Alexa Grasso's downfall. She has a hard time dealing with people that blitz her. She stays so tight and so composed, but she doesn't handle. She does handle, I should say. She doesn't fight very well backing up. No. She doesn't fight well, with her back to the fence.
She tends to go straight back also.
Yes. And so she's got decent defense, and she's a good fighter. She was very impressive on the ground tonight. She had a nice little armbar attempt to a sweep, got to the top position, nice little transitions there.
That was a semi omoplata. Come on.
Yes, it was very good. It was almost like she kind of caught her in an armbar / omoplata position. She had both arms. It was very impressive. And then she got to the top position, which was another thing. And then the way she spun too, to get to Macy Barber's back when she turtled up was very nice. She could have spun the opposite way and lost position and ended up back on her feet. So I thought that was very good. Very impressed by both fighters though coming out. I know a lot of people are going to get on Macy about, she's not as good as we thought. She's coming off of a long layoff. Lay off of her. I'm excited to see what she's got coming forward. This was good for her to get back in there.
First off, she's good and she's young.
Yeah.
And she's only going to get better. So, obviously she doesn't want the loss.
Yeah.
It ain't the end of the world. No big thing. Learn from, what the difference was between. I could see her doing the first round the way she did it, but it should have been that second round was more like what she did in the third round. You had to start to get after it. And that's just the difference in, winning that fight or not. And learn from it, move on in your next fight. Just show that you learned, hey, I up this pace in every round and I make my opponents have to fight my fight. She's going to end up getting a whole lot more wins. She's a good fighter. She's a tough lady.
Super tough. I mean, she still finished that fight with Roxanne Modafferi.
Yeah.
And her knee was jacked up, tore up, and she was still able to weather it. And you could see her knee giving out on her during that fight. She still just sometimes had to sit to her butt. Sometimes she kept trying to keep going. It's not easy to be in there knowing that someone wants to beat you up, knock your head off, and you can't move. You can't move left and right because your knee's going to get out of you. So, no, there's no doubt she's tough. She's definitely a tough woman. What was the next fight?
Oh, my man. Come on, Kelvin Gastelum and Ian Heinisch. I love Kelvin, man. He is just good everywhere. He out-wrestled the guy that was talking nothing about watch what happens with the wrestling. That's going to be the difference. And he was right. He just was 180 degrees wrong in the way he predicted it.
Yeah.
It was a really nice exhibition of all-around MMA by Kelvin Gastelum in the fight. A lot of people were questioning the first round, and how does Kelvin win the first round when Heinisch had, 2 submission attempts? Josh, those are not submission attempts. Okay. That is not a good Kimura that he has. If it's tight and it's good, you're going to see that Kelvin either is going to get submitted or he's going to have to roll out to give up position to relieve the pressure on the hold. Never had to do that. Straightens his arm out. And the second one, Heinisch is holding on to a Kimura grip while he's mounted.
Yeah.
Not the brightest move in the world.
Yeah.
Okay. It's time to let go of that and get yourself out of the mount position. You don't have a submission from that point. You don't have the ability to make that thing work. So he had 1 submission attempt, if you want to say. It wasn't a real good one. The second one was nothing. And Kelvin landed by far the way better strikes that affected someone in the round. You're looking at what affects people. Kelvin Gastelum definitely won that fight. And I thought he won every round.
Yeah. He definitely dominated every round. I thought he looked phenomenal. I thought the strength was going to be more of a factor, and it wasn't. It looked like it could have been in the first round. But then as Kelvin started putting the more pace on him, just kind of wrestling him and mixing, like you said, he needs to make it an MMA fight because he's given up the size at the 185 pound. If he doesn't make it an MMA fight, like a true MMA fight where he does a little bit of the wrestling, a little bit of the boxing, a little bit of the kicking, if he doesn't mix it all up, he's going to have a hard time at that weight class, but he's not. He mixed it up so well tonight. The size and the strength were not a factor. And he did it so fast and so fluidly. I liked how he snatched the single, couldn't get it, so he just hipped into it and lifted, got the takedown. He was very impressive tonight. It's good to see him. He's finally back. He's back on the winning track. I mean, he was on a 3-fight losing skid, but look, when you have fights like he had against Izzy, it takes something out of you, you got to get reprogrammed. You got to get your mind back on track. You've got to say, look, okay, I got to just get back focus to what is working for me. The damage in that fight will take its toll on you your next camp. There's not just that, but then also too, you could scroll down a little bit more. It had been a couple fights since he had lost he'd beat Michael Bisping. He'd beat Jacare. He had lost to Weidman before that, but he was on a 2-fight win streak. Then he fights Izzy, loses, battle royal basically is what it was. Just a slobber knocker as people would call it. Great fight. But then, a fight like that does something to you. Then he fights Darren Till. Then he fights Jack Hermanson. Like a 3-fight losing skid. Now he gets a win. I think you're going to see him start to progressively come back. And when he starts coming back, I think we're going to see a new Kelvin. I'm excited, man. I like watching him fight. I like the fact that for being a smaller guy, stepping up in a heavier weight class, now that Izzy is out of the weight, well, we don't know if he's going to stay out, but if he does stay at 205, that opens things up there for him to be there. And I think he's got a good shot at being, getting back up to that time, getting up to a title shot against guys like Robert Whitaker and Paulo Costa and Jared Cannonier and getting into that slot again. So I'd like to see that.
I was really surprised that, they kept on pushing the 170 thing. God, he could make 170. He'd be great at the world. No, he can't.
No.
He's already failed at that multiple times. Let him be. He's right where he needs to be. And it's like you're saying, I'll give Ian Heinich credit, man. Ian Heinich was in shape for this fight because everything that was happening in that fight, man, it is draining. And Heinich stayed with it the whole time because this is the exact type of fight that Kelvin Gastelum needs to now progress with and utilize in all of his future fights. When you mix things up like this, he used the clinch beautifully. A lot of good head position up against the cage, takedowns at time, used his hands, threw kicks. He was always making Heinich guess at what he was going to do. And when your opponent is guessing, that means that they're usually a little hesitant in being offensive. It's a good game plan for someone like Kelvin Gastelum to now move forward with in his next match. Doesn't mean you have to get the takedown, but you have to threaten it. You have to make them think about it. And if you can get them against the cage and do the work that you were doing, that's all going to put little tiny dividends into the bank for you to win the fight at the end. So I thought good game plan by Kelvin, his coach, Rafael Cordero, a great coach. I think they did a great job against a tough guy in Heinich. And that's a good win. That's a solid win.
Good for him. I'm happy for him. What other fights on there? Ricky Simone going up in weight.
Well, yes and no.
Come on.
Well, it was 145, but he was fighting another 135.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Didn't have to make weight.
Yes, it was a featherweight, but it was against another bantamweight.
I know. He looked great, though. He looked great. He looked phenomenal. The wrestling was just his
Brian Kelleher's he's one of those little junkyard dogs that just, sticks in there. You beating the shit out of him. He cut him with a beautiful cut straight up and down, and he's that guy that sticks around and you make one mistake and he catches you in it. And Ricky just didn't give him those mistakes, man. He was just a fireball throughout it. Very impressive performance against a tough guy.
Yeah, I think the fight probably would have still went the same way, but I think the cut had something to do with it right off the bat. As soon as you get that cut, it kind of just changes how things happen throughout the fight. And then Keller looked a little bit slower. It looked like he was hesitating on a lot of things. The blood being potentially in his eye, kind of, that cut right across that eyebrow like that. You always feel like you got to touch it. It's one of those, you're like, oh man, there's blood, or you feel like your skin's falling off into your eye. It's just something that bugs you. It's one of those irritating things throughout the fight. And I think,
at least the ones that go on the eyebrow usually start to drip to the outside.
Yeah.
And run down and kind of get into the outside area. The one like he had right here, it just runs straight into the corner of your eye. It's not a good place to have a cut.
But Ricky looked good. His wrestling was on point, striking was on point, everything was good. He's got that little push kick though up the middle, little Anderson Silva three times. Caught him in the very last part of the third round also.
True.
And I was like, what the hell? I'm like, come on, Ricky, move your head offline, buddy. Let's go.
Dude, it was like he was blind to that thing.
Sneaky. But look, Patolo and Marquez, gosh, what was he, like a minute away from getting the win?
Yep.
Oh man.
You got first off, Mackie Patolo, we've seen him fight many times. He's just a tough guy, but I love the fact that he came into that. He changed really his normal game plan, because normally he goes out to throw bombs and either knock someone out or get knocked out. And changing up camps, being an extreme control, they got him to fight smart against Marquez, who's got big power in a sense. As soon as he came out and he went for the takedown, I was like, way to go, Eric Nipsick, man. Good coaching. And he did it beautifully, man. And he was giving Marquez problems, on the ground from the top position. Marquez was lost in a lot of that fight. It was just like, I can't believe this is happening.
Yeah.
And finally, his coach and James Krause, who, I have nothing but love for. I think he's an incredible fighter and coach. Tells him, hey man, you got to go out there and get this. You got to go out there, hurt him. You're going to tell me you're going to hurt him. And, for a while there, it looked like, that's not going to happen. And then he was trying and he's working. And then he gets to the point, he's got him hurt. And then when he goes for the anaconda, I was like, oh my God, is he going to get it? And he got it. It was an exciting fight. It was fun. I give both guys, there was no loser in the fight. They both fought their asses off, and it was just a good scrap.
Well, Nipsey told Patolo after the first round, hey, he keeps going for the guillotine. Keep your head up. Keep your head up.
He did.
And he kept putting his head down. But in all fairness, he is a little bit shorter than Marquez. There's that situation. The other thing is, Patolo is one of those guys. He's that tweener. He's in that Kelvin Gastelum area where 70's too much. 85.
He's got those heavy legs, man.
Yeah, but 70's too much of a weight cut, and 85 is just a tiny bit too big. He's got power in his hands. You saw it right off the bat when he kind of like stunned Marquez a little bit in that first 30 seconds to a minute.
Yep.
But overall, I mean, he's kind of in no man's land right now. He's got 3 losses, in the last 3 fights. And what is he? 13-8. So he's got his hands full in terms of what would be next for him.
Well, I look at it. When you have a guy that fights the way he fought, tonight, you can't get rid of him.
Yeah,
Got to give him another fight. Let him, let him prove, what he's doing to make himself better. Give him someone that you say, hey, this is a tough guy, but he's someone that you should be able to go with and see what he does. I would hate to see anyone who fights that hard and that well in that type of fight to open up your main card and everything. Don't get rid of him.
Yeah. Let's talk real quick about the fight that I was really upset didn't make the card. Bobby Green.
Okay.
Bobby Green and Jim Miller. Shit, man. What happened? He just too much
What
weight
happened?
cut? Too much weight
What
cut?
happened? It's the same thing that happens all the time, too frequently. What do you want to say? How many times do you need a fighter to fucking fall face first in front of you because they're fucking dehydrated to no end and just think, oh, that's okay? It's not okay. It's wrong, and things need to change. You can't continue to have guys do this because, luckily Bobby is okay. Okay. But he's not going to be the last one. And eventually, Josh, you're playing Russian roulette. One of them's going to die. And then whose fault is it? Is it the commission's fault? Is it the UFC's fault? Is it the fighter's fault? Is it the trainer's fault? Whose fault is it? Well, it's all of them. All of them. Because the weight cutting has gotten out of control. We've got a lot of guys that are finally starting to say, hey, I can't make these weight cuts. They're killing me in the fight. I'm not performing well. I'm going up. And they're fighting well. But we still have a lot of guys, man. They're cutting a ton of weight. And Bobby cuts a lot of weight.
I guess this goes back to, I think, a remedy would just be to have weight classes every 10 pounds.
Well, it would help.
It would help in terms of especially, this is that 50 to 70, 55 to 70. He can't go to 70. That's the thing. Can you imagine him fighting someone like Usman? Get the freak out of here. There's just no way, man. Look at Gilbert Burns. Even he's big. He's enormous. When we saw him at Bellator for one of the fights there, what was he? He had to have been 200 pounds. He had to have been 200 pounds. And so a lot of these guys, if you have weight classes every 10 pounds, I'm saying all the way up to 185 and then maybe the 85 to 205, those guys can just deal with it. Because there's not a lot of guys at those weight classes. Look,
the weight classes are there.
Yeah, they are. That's what you were saying.
It's just for the promotion to use. It's the promotion that's saying we don't want to use it.
I just feel like since they're so active in those 55, 65 to 75, there's plenty of talent in those areas.
Yes, there is.
All the way up from 75 to 85, you have plenty of talent in those areas there to fill the spots. And it just doesn't make sense. I don't, especially when you have something like this. Was there a video that you saw? I didn't see it. If there was a video of Bobby Green falling, collapsing.
No, I was told by somebody.
Yeah. So I haven't seen a video, or I was just told also that he had collapsed. I don't know where. They didn't say he was at weigh-ins though. They just said he had collapsed and that he probably wasn't fighting
In the back.
Yeah. So my best wishes go out to Bobby. I like Bobby a lot. Good kid.
Great
nice,
guy.
nice guy. Super nice guy. So best of luck to him, and hopefully he's come back. I mean, but look, he's going to have to keep his weight under control if he's going to continue to try to make 55.
Well, I look at it, this way. Bobby normally makes weight. He doesn't have that problem.
No.
But all it takes is, something, is a little bit off in your system, and you're trying to take that same weight off, and it just doesn't come off the same. And then you're killing yourself trying to get it off.
Yeah.
And just one bad thing leads into another. So the big thing is what damage are you doing to yourself during the cut, then during the fight, and then afterwards, when you dry yourself out and your kidneys have no water and your body has been dehydrated at that point, there are effects from it. It's not like, you just put water in and everything's back to normal. It's not. And those effects can hamper you in your health later on in life. It's not a good thing. It needs to be taken care of. Think about how long ago was it that you and I sat in the same room for a weight cutting seminar, or I don't know what they called it. Conference to talk about it and bring it together. And what has changed?
Shit, that must have been in 2017, 18?
No.
Yeah.
No way. Now 2016 at the earliest.
Whatever, it was the first year I had signed with Bellator, because Bellator is the one that sent me there. So I think it was 2017.
Okay.
Maybe 2016. Maybe it was 2016.
I think it was 2016.
Jeez. Damn, time flies.
Damn.
Yeah, it was a while ago, and they still haven't figured out the problem. We talked about hydration tests back then. We talked about not allowing a certain amount of weight to be put back on after they made the weight. And if you did, then you wouldn't be allowed to fight. So that would try to keep them in track. You couldn't exceed the weight class above you for fight time. But then I think some of the argument there was, then now you have guys the day of their fight trying to cut weight to get below their weight, the weight class above. So there's that problem. So you have the hydration tests that haven't really been run, from what I understand. And then California started doing you can't exceed 10% or 20% of your the weight.
California's got quite a few rules for it now. But then, you have all, the fighters get mad, the promotions get mad, and it's like, too bad.
Yeah.
California has forced several fighters to move up in weight, and that's because of bad weight cuts. It has to be done. It's for the overall safety of the fighters, overall safety of the sport. And why is it that something has to happen that's really bad for you to finally do something that's right?
I just wish fighters would understand that if your weight cut sucks, a lot of it has to do with your nutrition. I still see a lot of fighters eating whatever the hell they want, thinking they can just get away with it. And then when it comes weight cut time, they wonder why they're suffering. I mean, don't get me wrong, weight cutting sucks, but a lot of it has to do with how clean you eat for your weight to come off easily. I mean, I know I never cut a lot of weight, and a ton of weight, but I still cut anywhere between, say, 18 to 20 pounds, all within less than probably a 24-hour period, and it all came off pretty smoothly. You do a couple, you do like 6 or 7 at night, sleep off 1 or 2, and do, the rest in the morning, or do 5 or 6 in the morning, and then the rest before you got to go to weigh-ins. That was when weigh-ins were at 3:00. But a lot of it had to do with diet and nutrition. If your diet and nutrition are on point, your weight cut will be a lot easier, and you won't feel that way. You're still going to feel shitty and lightheaded and things like that. But it just comes down to it really comes down to the nutrition aspect of it all, instead of you just soaking in a sauna, trying to get it all off for hours on hours on hours. I mean, a lot of my weight cut was done in plastics, but it was done in the gym, just moving around, walking, talking, shadowbox, goofing around. It wasn't just sitting in the sauna for 5 hours. No
matter what, none of it was good for you.
Well, you can't tell me now, Big John. It's a little late, buddy. It really just comes. I've been doing it my whole life since I was 12 years old. Is when I first started cutting weight. That's probably why I'm so short.
I can't sit here and say I never did it. I did it, but especially back then, back in the 1800s, we didn't know anything about it. But seriously, of course I did it, but we didn't realize how bad it was for you. But now that we know and everything that goes along with it, there needs to be something that changes so we don't have a tragedy occur and then go, oh, we didn't know. Lie. Yeah. You all know.
Yeah, it's true. Hopefully they make some adjustments. I really think that having weight classes every 10 pounds up to 185 pounds would make a big difference.
It could help.
I mean, even if it made a difference for 20, 30 people, that's 20, 30 people that probably don't know how to cut weight properly, that you could be saving one of their lives.
Well, you're going to get people that are going to say, well, no matter what, they're going to cut weight anyways. And so then you're right. They're going to cut weight anyways. But if they have to cut less weight, and they just maintain their normal weight that they normally were, well, then they're cutting less weight. So if that's what it is, well, that's better than what we're having them do now.
Well, you got to look at Kelvin Gastelum, trying to get to 70. How many times did he try? He never made it. Did he ever make it at all?
I think he made it once.
One time. He either made it one time or he never made it.
He made it once.
Darren Till. I know he made 70, but he struggled. He missed it a couple times too. A bunch of Anthony Johnson, he did it. He missed it a bunch of times. God. Anthony missed it a ton of times. You know what I mean? So it's like, and little do we know, he was a lot more dominant at 205. He was like, he was holding himself back.
Yeah.
So
that's the whole point. I'm not saying everyone.
Yeah.
I'm not saying everyone, it'd be good if they moved up. But for a lot of fighters, some of them moving up would be a good thing for them.
Yeah.
Just as a side note, Dana did. Somebody asked Dana this week about Nate Diaz, saying he wants to fight. He'll basically fight 65 or 70 or whatever. And Dana said there's absolutely no 65 fights happening. So he's locked.
There you go.
He's fixed on no 65.
Interesting. Yeah, that's that tweener. That's that tweener weight class. Anyways, all right. There was another fight on there that I wanted to talk about.
Which one?
There was
Chris Gutierrez. That was a good fight.
Yes, it was. No, but the one that I want to talk about was Hernandez and Vieira. Hernandez with the beautiful submission over the 7-time.
Not in a million years would I call that one.
It was if you were on the betting odds on that, John.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you were in California, you would know who Anthony Hernandez is, because he's well known. He's a tough dude, and we call him Fluffy, and he's got that nickname Fluffy because he used to be way heavier, but he's tough. And so you look at this matchup and you go, man, can he beat Vieira? Well, yeah, if he gets past you look at what Vieira does. Vieira does tend to burn out pretty quick. He's gotten tired in a lot of his fights and had some problems about burning out because he loses a lot of weight.
Yeah.
So you're looking at saying, well, he's got to get this into the second and third rounds, and he's got a possibility of getting, a decision or maybe a knockout or something. Never would you say he's going to get a submission win against Vieira. And man, I was like, I can't believe that he just got him to tap. That was awesome. It really was. And it was awesome to see, Rogan is, he's a Vieira, nut hugger because of his jiu-jitsu ability, and he's fantastic. And he was all excited for Hernandez. So it was fun to watch.
Vieira was so tired. He was exhausted after the first 2.5 minutes that he just couldn't even keep his hands up. He took such big shots towards the end of the first round. And I was like, oh no, this is not, and you got 2 more rounds. You're this tired 2.5 minutes in.
Okay, so tell me, how does a guy that looks the way he looks, because he looks like he's a Greek god, right? As far as body types, got 0 fat, right? How does a guy that looks like that, built like that, how does he get that tired, Josh? It's a weight cut.
Well, I don't think he just didn't hydrate properly, John. That has an effect on you as well if you hydrate properly. And a lot of these guys don't know how to hydrate properly. It's really it really does come down to how you deplete your body and how you put it all back into your body. There's a
It
science.
has something. It's a science. Every human being is different. There is not a specific science behind it because these guys cannot take any type of.
That's true.
You can't get the intravenous, so it's all stuff that you're drinking and stuff. It's just bad. It's bad. That fight right there shows what happens to someone that cuts a lot of weight.
Yeah, he was done. So what does he do? Does he go up to 205?
He should.
He's big.
He's killing himself.
He's so big. And like Greek god is, I don't even know if that's a word. Like he's more ripped than the Greek god models that they have in Greece. Anyways, but yeah, that was one of those very impressive performances. Hernandez just kind of weathered the storm for the first, minute and a half. As soon as he got taken out, I was like, oh, this isn't going to go well.
I thought so too.
And then he got mounted. I was like, oh, this is not looking good. Then he wiggled his way out of there and came up on top. And he was like, the whole time he's laughing, smiling, like having a blast.
He was having fun.
You can tell he loves fighting. I feel like the best fighters in the world, they love this. They love that feeling. And you see a little bit of that in him, that little trickle of like, I love this. He got up and Vieira was like on his knees after the first round. He just kind of smiled at him. He's like,
oh, he knew.
Yeah. It's over, buddy. He's like, it's over.
Oh, you are man. Tired.
Yeah, because he tried to get Vieira in a guillotine in the end of the first round.
I know.
I was like, what are you doing?
Well, he got him in a guillotine and tapped him. Come on.
I was like, what are you doing? And then he caught him.
He knew way more than we did.
Wow. It's crazy. Great performance, though. That's huge.
Congratulations to him. That was a big, big win.
You know when they say you have a notch on your bedpost?
Oh, yeah.
That's right there. That's a notch.
That's a notch.
That's a notch right there. What was another fight that you liked?
Oh, I loved the Chris Gutierrez versus Andre Yule. I thought that was a really good fight. It was a tough fight, man. Yule's legs, he is not going to be walking.
Yeah.
His legs got eaten up. I mean, and it was the front of him, the back of him, the sides of him, every damn kick you could think of hit his legs. And I mean, I felt bad for him at the end of the fight. I was like, oh, that's going to hurt tomorrow. But tough dude, man. Tough dude. And Chris fought a really, smart fight, good fight against a very elusive, tough, long fighter. It was a fun fight to watch. And then the first fight, Gabriel Green, man. Gabe Green, saw him in his first professional fight, watched him as an amateur, saw him as professional. He's been out, with Submission Factory and Tracy Hess for a long time and got to come in, put on a good performance, a tough performance against a really tough guy, and get the win. That was nice to see. Just happy for him.
Yeah. Muhammad fought a good fight as well against Diego Lima. Good fight as well. I thought the prelim fights were pretty good.
Yeah.
I thought
the whole card was good.
Yeah, it was pretty good. I thought it was pretty good. The whole card was pretty good. The Batolo fight, man. Like if you're talking like in terms of upsets, right? Like you have the Batolo fight, how it just the way it ended, and then you've got Hernandez over Vieira, how it that kind of it's just like one of those, I don't know, those two fights right there kind of made the card for me because I love like those type of fights where one guy's kind of winning kind of handily, but the other guy's not really out of it, but then you get something like that happening. It's like, oh, it kind of adds more flavor to the night. I loved it.
When the underdog is showing that he's got a chance and he can win this, and in the Hernandez fight, not only did he show he could, he did. Yeah. And unfortunately for Maki, he didn't get it done all the way through, but he put on a great performance. One of the better fights I've actually, as far as fighting smart, fighting within yourself against a guy that is tough. I thought that Batolo did a great job for that entire fight.
Yeah, the way he out wrestled him and the size was a factor. I mean, like you look at the size, but it didn't seem like it was a factor through the fight. He made it seem like it wasn't a factor, but you see the two of them face to face, and Batolo was so much smaller. Yeah. And so, but I thought he did a great job up until the very end. Felt bad for him when it happened. I was like, oh no! I was like, no, you gotta be killing yourself. All right. Well, what else do we got there, buddy?
Let's get through this real quick and then we'll jump into a couple of items on the news.
All right. Well, let's get into mybookie.ag, mybookie.ag or mybookie.com. Use the promo code weighing in, and they'll give you another 50% off of your initial deposit, all the way up from $100 to $1,000. So if you deposit $1,000, they'll give you another $50 on top of that to spend. If you go up to $1,000, they give you another $500 to spend. Mybookie.ag or mybookie.com. Use the promo code weighing in.
So, and some other news this week, we found out that Chimaev got COVID, are still coming off the last COVID, and so he's out of the Leon Edwards fight again.
Yeah, that's becoming the next Khabib and Tony Ferguson.
Boy, isn't it, man? That's what I was gonna say.
Let's just leave that fight alone and move on.
Well, it's so funny because Dana was so into that fight's gonna happen too, and it got canceled the first time, then it got canceled the second time, and now he said, "Yeah, we're gonna have to move on from that." Hello,
yeah,
it's like. Chimaev came in and had those 3 fights within basically a month's time. And now he hasn't fought in how long? And he's sick. And, he's going to have to take some time to get over, COVID. It affects everybody differently. And there's, there's people out there. Cody Garbrandt had a real hard time with it. I know a lot of people that have had some real hard times with it. So, he's got to take time, get himself back, and eventually we'll see him again, but there's no reason to rush it.
And so now Nate obviously wants to try and step in there at 170. And there's a exchange with Nate and Edwards on Twitter where Nate sends this picture of Leon.
Yeah, well, he says something about he doesn't want to. He said that he wants to fight winners, and so he said Leon goes, "Hey, I'm here." He's won his last 8 or 9 fights in a row. Leon has, and Nate's like, "Who the fuck is this guy?"
The guy he doesn't want to fight.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you on that. Yes. I think Leon pieces him up on the feet, on the ground, pieces him up everywhere.
Just way faster.
Way faster, way slicker.
Stronger. Yep.
Definitely stronger. I fought one and trained with the other one. Leon's good. He's really good. He's super fast. But if we look at that weight class, if we look at that division there, I mean, realistically, the only guy that I'd really like to see him fight would be Masvidal and Colby. Those are the only other 2 guys I really care to see him fight. You know what? Stephen Thompson. What the hell am I talking about? Him and Stephen would be a fun fight. We just had Stephen on. Stephen actually even called him out. Said, "Hey, yes. I'm ready to fight if you are." I mean, it makes sense.
Oh, yeah.
It makes a lot of sense. But Dana brought up something about, about possibly Colby and maybe Leon. I mean, look, Leon and Masvidal make sense to me because of the beef from before.
Yeah.
But then Stephen Thompson and Leon also make sense to me.
Masvidal's team also just came out and said that they accept the title fight. So
they accept the title fight?
Yeah, because it's what's his face called Masvidal out after the main event tonight.
Oh, I already left my house.
Oh, okay.
I didn't leave the interview.
Yeah, so Usman called out Masvidal and said he'll give my full camp this time.
Well, he came out. Masvidal sent a posted or something, said, "I took your nose in 3 days notice," or something like that.
Yeah.
He's like, give me a full camp, I take your belt, and then give me something else and I take your head. I don't know. It was pretty catchy. It was pretty catchy. I was kind of like, that was pretty good. Not bad, but that was good. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like to see it. I wouldn't mind seeing that fight. And then if you have the whole tough thing, it kind of the build up and the do it again, but I think you're going to see, I agree, you'll probably see a little bit more of the same outcome, but I think it's going to be a little bit more contested in the first couple rounds. I mean, we saw tonight, if you touch Usman, if you're able to catch him with some good shots,
Josh, name me the person that's punch proof. Yeah, that's what I thought. Nobody.
Who do we know?
Nobody is punch proof. It's a matter of, can you land that clean shot on the person?
I mean, I guess, what do you consider punch proof? Khabib?
Meaning,
right? No, Khabib?
Khabib's not punch proof.
Well, I mean, I haven't seen him hit the ground yet.
Well, yeah. I've seen him get wobbled. And that by a guy that's not known as a huge heavy striker, a volume striker.
You know, the canvas can be slippery sometimes.
Yeah.
let's not get ahead of ourselves, buddy. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. The canvas can be slippery.
Yeah, they always put that ice down on it.
Yeah. We've seen them out there with buckets trying to pick up ice.
Yes,
off
we
the
have.
ground.
There is film of that.
Oh, I just saw that video the other day when they dumped it. You got all the commissioners out there trying to pick up the ice and put it back in the bucket. Someone had posted that video the other day. It was pretty funny.
Well, see, it's funny. Where it all depends on where that happens. See, that happens in the UFC's cage. It's not that bad. And that what you're seeing was in the UFC.
It was.
And they're trying to pick it up because you can shove all that. They've got the what they call that
that crate that's outside, right?
Well, no, it's the invisible line. It's kind of like an infinity line because the canvas sits and the cage actually runs down past it. So you can shove all that ice through the cage and it'll work. But if you're like in Bellator, it's got the pad that goes around the bottom. So there's no way you can get it out. So you got to pick each individual piece of ice up.
Yeah.
It's a disaster.
With the infinity cage, like you were talking about, didn't someone's foot get stuck in there?
Oh, it's happened multiple times.
Was it Brock Lesnar's?
No, happened. The very first time it happened was UFC 4. The next time it happened was, God dang it, I'm looking at his face right now, and I'm really screwing up. Ellenberger.
Jake Ellenberger.
Jake Ellenberger.
Yes.
It
was against Diego Sanchez, wasn't it?
I was thinking it was.
No, it wasn't Diego.
Masvidal. I don't know.
I think it was Masvidal. I think I was at that fight. I'm trying to remember.
Well, it was a fight.
Yeah, it was Masvidal.
Yeah.
Yep.
Damn, I thought there was a heavyweight that happened to as well in the UFC. His foot got stuck in there, or like half of his foot got stuck. I want to say it was a heavyweight. There was a heavyweight that it did.
Damn, that's the infinity line. Now it's stuck. And what happens is when that fence goes, you push the fence moves, and then it pinches back, and now you're trapped. This is not a good thing.
Do you have an opportunity? Could he have contested that as a no contest?
Not the way they called it. It should have been stopped right at that moment.
Yeah.
Time, let him get his foot out. Unfortunately, it is taking a little bit of, Masvidal right now. See, it should have been stopped because he's stuck. And this is it's what we call an equipment failure. Okay. But in that situation, he wasn't stopped. And so Masvidal was able to open up, and they ended up just calling the fight.
So would you, if you guys were to watch this video, if you can see Herb Dean's out of position there. So
damn, look at you.
He's clearly out of position to not see what's going on, and his foot is stuck. So would you say that it's Herb Dean's fault then? I'm not sure.
It's not Herb Dean's fault that his foot got stuck. That's not Herb.
Oh man.
Herb didn't shove his foot down in there.
Any opportunity I have to jab at Herb Dean, I'm going to take it. Oh man. Yeah, that's a shit situation to be in.
That's a shitty situation. I also had it happen in the Ultimate Fighter. It was the year that Connor was a coach with Uriah Faber. One of the fighters, their foot got stuck in the cage. It was against, in fact, Sal Rogers was fighting. It was his opponent that it happened.
Was Uriah and Connor supposed to fight?
No.
I was like, I don't recall them ever being scheduled to fight. Did I miss something? Yeah. That was kind of during the time I wasn't really. It was
Marcin Roziek.
Did it result in the fight being called?
No. Just stopped the fight, undid his foot from the cage, and then restarted the fight. Pretty simple.
Saul Rogers, man, he's a beast.
Yeah, he is. Well, it's unfortunate. He beat everybody, including Ryan Hall, in that show. That's right there where his foot gets stuck. He can't move. Yep. Now his foot's free.
Yeah, Ryan Hall just pulled out of a fight. Something to do with that.
Yeah. He doesn't fight much.
I know. He's not a spring chicken either.
No, he's not.
He's older. What else? What other news you got?
I don't know what's going to go with that.
John Jones kind of clarified or alluded to this week that he basically hasn't come to any type of agreement with the UFC yet. So where people are speculating a move to heavyweight, John Jones suggested that that's not the case.
That he's what?
He hasn't agreed to anything with the UFC as far as fight, as far as moving up.
This is very interesting. He has said that he's going to heavyweight. Then he's already vacated the title, correct? At 205?
Well, he vacated the title because he quote unquote retire.
Yeah.
No.
Didn't he say he retired
He
last
was saying
year?
he was retiring. Yeah, he said something about he was retiring last year.
He said he says
threatening.
I'm thinking about retiring. He threatened it, but he never did.
Yeah.
And then he went and decided I was going to move up to heavyweight. Kind of had the little Twitter beefs with Francis.
Yeah.
Ngannou.
Francis is scary. I don't know if I'd even want to get into a Twitter beef with him.
I'd be afraid that he could hurt me with his Twitter.
Yeah. His tweeter.
I didn't say tweeter. You
I
dipshit.
know, but that's what I heard when you said it. Oh, Fred's gonna hurt me with his tweeter.
He probably could hurt you with his tweeter.
Oh, jeez, he's a big boy. There's a video of him and Dan Ige. Dan Ige is trying to rip him to the body, and he's just laughing at Dan, like, "Go ahead, come on, keep coming." And Dan's trying to hit him as hard as he can, and he's just like, "Yeah, whatever." Oh man, that's great. What else you got for us?
Tough.
Outside of that, there's not a whole lot else going on. We do have the heavyweights fighting this coming weekend, but we're gonna probably talk about that this in the middle of the
We're
week.
gonna talk about that Wednesday.
Yep.
On to the fan questions.
Let's go. What do you got?
I don't have.
Give me what you
Oh,
got.
nice.
Good job.
I'll have them
You're
for
gonna have to cut
the
that out.
midweek show. Got to cut that out.
You have
You're
to
gonna
cut that out.
man. Jesus Christ.
Oh man, there was something I saw in
What a
here that I wanted to see.
disaster.
You want me to go back up?
No, or is it back up at the top? Yeah, go back up
must
at
be.
the top. Let me see. Tony had some beef with somebody the other day.
Connor called him
okay.
El
Oh,
Cockeye.
Oh, cockeye.
Yeah.
On his birthday.
Look.
On his birthday, of all things. He says, "Happy birthday, El Cockeye." That's fucked up, man. What a jerk. Come on, Connor. You were being so nice for the Dustin Poirier, but now all of a sudden he's like, "No more Mr. Nice Guy." And this is what he sends out. Oh, man. Jeez. Dustin Poirier.
Yeah, this is all pretty much
Yeah.
tonight.
All right, well. Let me see. Let's pull up one of these weight classes.
Which week?
Pull one up for me. Let's see. We always talk about the 55. We always talk about the 70. We always talk about 85. You know what? Let's talk about the heavyweight division since they're here. Since they're coming up this weekend. Stipe fights Ngannou. John Jones is somewhere inserted into that position there. Curtis Blades is fighting Derek Lewis this weekend. Rosenstruck. He's in that conversation at number 3.
He's fighting Cyril Gane coming up.
Cyril Gane. So where do we put Stipe if he beats Francis Ngannou? Where does he go?
What do you mean? He's the champion.
I know, but where does he go?
Haven't you ever done this before, Josh?
He's done it all. He's done it all.
Yeah.
He's done it all. Keep doing what he's doing.
Yeah.
He's 37.
I mean, could he retire? He could retire. But if you were Stipe and you beat Francis Ngannou for a second time, and you got this guy named John Jones out there, don't you want to fight him?
Yeah,
don't you want to prove, hey, you know what? Yeah, he was great at light heavyweight. That doesn't mean shit here. Come on, you want to do that?
Yeah, if you're trying to get that money fight, I think John's his idea of a money fight.
John's his Conor McGregor.
That's a shit situation to be in if you're Stipe, though. But then also, too, what do you do as well if Ngannou does beat you? You know they're going to give you an automatic rematch. Do you take it? I mean, you're probably going to take it, yeah. But I'm saying, Does John slide in there to fight Francis then? Or do you give Stipe his rematch? Because, I mean, he has been that dominant. He has been the most dominant heavyweight champion.
Oh, he has, but man, if you're looking and saying, well, if Francis Ngannou beats Stipe, do they give him an automatic rematch? I don't think they do. I don't think they will.
Even after the DC, how he came back and he was able to get the win?
Yeah, but again, here you go back to what you have talked about about age.
Yeah.
He's 37 now. Do I want to give a guy who's 37 right now, so by the time they fight again, he's 38? Do I want to put him in that position where, I would rather put John Jones up against Francis Ngannou if I'm the UFC. It just makes more sense to me. I'm not saying that Stipe doesn't deserve it. He's 38 already.
Yeah. How old is Ngannou? He's up there too.
He's like 32.
I think he's 30, 32,
34.
34.
34 years old. Man. Well, him and then John Jones is what, 34?
Nope. John Jones, I believe, is 33 now.
Yep, 33.
33. Wasn't off by a lot. Easy. I mean, it makes it interesting to, like, because you have John Jones, you got Francis that are the younger ones. Stipe being 38.
Take a look at John's record there. Just
Yeah.
roll that thing up a little bit here. Let's take a look at the people he's being. Keep on going.
Keep on going.
Keep on going. Yeah, because you.
Bunch of people
Okay,
in there
stop
I've
right
never
there.
heard of.
So, oh yeah, a bunch of people that you've never heard of. I mean, you take a look at the list there of people that he's fought. Brandon Vera, Vladdy Matyashenko. I remember that one. That was my first UFC back for a while. Ryan Bader, Mauricio Hua, Quentin Jackson, Lyoto Machida, Rashad Evans, Vitor Belfort, Chael Sonnen. So he had a break right there. Alexander Gustafsson, Glover Teixeira, Dan Cormier, OSP, Dan Cormier again, Gustafsson again. Man, I'll tell you what, Anthony Smith Santos, and then Dominic Reyes. Can't say anything about,
No.
the list of people that he has had to face. It's impressive.
I wonder when he was first found, scroll all the way down, he came out of the organization, he came out of the
young.
BCX5 Battle Cage and Extreme 5, WCF World Championship Fighting 3. These organizations even still around. Like, you know what I mean? Like, but when he had fought, he'd had 5 fights before, it looks like.
Yep.
1, 2, 3,
6.
4, 6. So 6 fights before he got to the UFC. I mean, I'm surprised that no one else found this guy. I'm surprised. Like, Bellator was run by Bjorn at the time. They didn't find him. I think back then, what was this, in 2008? 2008, Strikeforce, hello. Like, Strikeforce was around still until 2012. Yeah. Like, he was out there. He was available.
Oh, he's out there.
I mean, that's impressive, though. His one loss, well-deserved against Matt Hamill. I don't even recall that fight, to be honest. I never saw that fight.
Oh, you want to know what happened?
I heard it was an illegal blow. He hit him with an elbow or a knee or something on the
Dude,
ground.
stop. Okay.
I didn't see it.
This is what really happened.
I'm not saying that he did.
John Jones is beating Matt Hamill like he's a rag doll.
Yeah.
And at one point, ragdolls him up into the air and slams him down and basically hurts Matt Hamill's shoulder. Matt Hamill tries to brace on the fall and hurts his shoulder and then mounts him. And from that mount starts to throw elbows and then decides, kind of looks at Steve Mazzagatti and is throwing this semi 10 to 12 to 6, but it's crap. And all of a sudden Mazzagatti, stop. Well, Matt Hamill cannot go on, not because of anything that was from an elbow strike. They determine his shoulder is hurt. He can't go on, and they disqualified John for what was a legal throw and hurting his shoulder. He got disqualified because he threw these elbows that did nothing to Matt Hamill. As far as, their hurting him. He was hurt on a legal throw. So it should have been a no contest.
Wow.
It was a bad call.
I thought the fight was stopped because of the illegal elbows.
It was, but the reason he couldn't go on was because he had a hurt shoulder from a legal takedown.
Interesting.
So
he should be undefeated.
He should be.
What's his record?
26 and 1. 26 and 1. And the one no contest with Dan Cormier.
Yeah.
So
why would the commission refuse if somebody like Dana White's trying to influence that?
You will never ever get first off, there's gambling in the state of Nevada. Take a look at Anthony Rumble Johnson versus Kevin Burns. Okay, yeah. Another Steve Mazzagatti fight where Rumble Johnson gets a finger shoved second knuckle deep into his eye. He flops over, covers up. Mazzagatti stops fighting. He doesn't see that it was an eye poke, and that's okay. It's understandable, and calls the fight, stops the fight right there. Well, then you can see it on the video. He didn't get punched. He got a finger stuck deep into his eye, and they didn't even overturn that.
Yeah, I coached and cornered him for that fight.
It was ridiculous.
Anthony Johnson, and the second one too. Yeah, he that was nasty. His eye was swollen like for a couple. I would say probably at least nasty. 5-6 days. His eye was swollen. He couldn't see out of it. Yeah, he's
lucky he didn't lose his eye, man. That thing, if you look at the tape, I mean, it's deep.
Nasty. Yeah, I remember that. All right, John. Well,
in the end, here you go.
Here we go. All right, guys. Well, hopefully you guys enjoyed the show. Didn't have a lot of news and gossip to talk about like we normally do.
Not really.
There's things out there that we choose not to talk about because we would like to talk about sports. We'd like to talk about fighting. So we will.
We could talk about Dana calling Ariel a douche. I don't know why, and I'm not going to get into it.
Oh man!
Which time?
Yeah.
Exactly. Many times.
I guess if the shoe fits. Oh man. Hey, it is what it is.
It is. So, congratulations to Kamaru Usman. You fought a beautiful fight. You showed how a true champion doesn't lose composure. I'm sorry to Gilbert Burns. You came out, you gave it everything you had, and it was crushing to see you so crushed in the cage. But you're going to be back, brother. You're a hell of a fighter, and you went out there and almost took the title. You almost put him away in the beginning. So it was fun to watch.
Congratulations to Alexa Grasso. Phenomenal job tonight. Macy Barber, you'll be back. For sure. For sure. Hopefully you guys enjoy the show, and I want to thank you guys for tuning in. Hit the thumbs up, hit the subscribe button as well. Also, I've had a lot of people. I know, ring the bell. I've had a lot of people say, man, I didn't know you guys dropped it at 8 today. I've been waiting all day. Well, hit that little bell, and that will let you know when we drop it, and get your notifications. Please share and hit the thumbs up. We're trying to get at least 5,000 thumbs up and likes, and make sure you guys turn that bell on, and we thank you guys for tuning in. And John, let's go, baby. Tell me what you got to say.
Last couple things. First off, I want to thank everyone that's a new subscriber and the old subscribers for being with us for as long as you have. Thank you so much. Also, ProWrestlingTees.com. Go to ProWrestlingTees.com and you can grab one of the great weighing in t-shirts, like that one, or one of the multitude of ones. We might even have a special one coming out for St. Patty's Day. Not sure. But if you do go there, what is our promo code, Dave?
Plethora.
I love that. So put in plethora, you'll get 20% off, and you can wear one of the incredible weighing in t-shirts. Go buy it now. And the last thing I want to say to you, Joshua, is it's always good talking to you, brother. But see ya.